Hello, fellow teachers. Thank you very much for joining me today. This webinar is my second webinar that is pretty much a pre-launch of my book that's coming out tomorrow on everything you need to know to start up your business as an online teacher. And the book will have lots of tools and lots of helpful advice and worksheets that will help you go through the process step by step and get through the important milestones to achieve your goals. This is it's pretty much based on my experience, and I am very excited that it's coming out. And it will not be only the book, but I'm also working on a workbook that will go with it, because what I discovered is that it's not so easy in an ebook. When you have an ebook, it's not so easy to fill out the gaps in your charts and answer questions where you have to actually write them out. So that prompted me to create an add-on product to it, which will accompany your book. So I'm very excited about it. I've wanted to do it for some time, and it was my readers, the readers of my blog on elenamotonono.com, that really prompted me to start working on it. So if you're joining us now, welcome. And I am going to start this webinar by sharing a few things a few websites that I find useful for teaching online, and I hope that you will find useful as well. As I was thinking and preparing for this webinar, I realized how ambitious I probably was, sharing 15 tools in 1 hour and sharing what they can give you is probably a lot. So I'm just going to take my time, but every one of you that is signed up for webinars is going to receive a link to my blog post with more than 15 tools and websites that I find useful for online teaching. And specifically, there will be a number of websites that will help you as an English teacher. Because I know that a lot of people, or a fraction of the people that are watching me today or are watching this recording, may not necessarily be teaching English, but so the tools that I will be introducing to you are really generic, but the ones that are specific to teaching English as a second or foreign language, I will include them in my blog post. And I also realized, as I was putting things together this morning for the webinar, I realized that there are so many more websites that are coming up and popping up into my mind. You know how that happens the very last moment when you're ready and everything is set, and all of a sudden you have this website that comes up and that website, and you think, oh, I should have talked about this and I should have talked about that. So I'm glad that I will be putting this all together. Actually, I have put this all together, but I will be adding it to the list on my blog, and you will receive within 2 hours after our webinar, you will receive a note with the link, and you are free to use this link or use the resources that I will be sharing with you in there, and you will actually be able to check them out as you read. A quick note before we get started here is, when you teach online, you realize the great opportunities that you have, where you don't have to stick to one or several textbooks, but you can actually pick and choose what you want to achieve. And at certain times, I use some websites more than others, and it is wonderful that new ones are coming up, and the people are working and they are producing a lot of resources for free, as well as at a really reasonable charge. So I encourage you to check these out, and you might know some of them already, but it will be good for you to kind of expand your horizons. And I'm sure there will be a couple of websites that you will look at and you'll think, oh, I never knew about it. I've heard about it, but I wasn't sure. So I will be sharing my screen right now, and hopefully it will all work very well. There we go. So the first, I will start out with one website that I actually used this morning. It's called Evernote.com. And Evernote is a wonderful resource. If you haven't used it yet, I encourage you to do so. At first, when I first began using it, I thought to myself, well, how stupid is this? I've got my a notebook, and I can pretty much write down all of the notes and take them off the list, as this is actually the list of my 15 tools. As you can see, there are many more. And you will definitely have access to them in your um, in the link on my blog and through the links on my blog. So I thought, how easy, I mean, why would I need to duplicate what I already have written down on in my notebook? But what happens is, what I discovered, especially through the years that I teach online, one notebook is done, and then I start another one, another one, another one. I have passwords for some websites in one of my notebooks. Then I have the list of students in my other notebook, and then I have my to-do list and ideas for my next year in another book. And when I want to go back, my problem is I feel like I really need to search for things really quickly, and it takes forever to do so. But with Evernote, it's really nice because you can pretty much click on search, hit search, and put in a word, and you will find the specific or particular note that you're looking for in a matter of seconds. If you want to create a note, for example, sometimes you're typing up something and you're thinking, oh, I need this for my blog. This would be so great for my blog. So you title your note. It's a very, as you can say, a very clean interface, really easy. You write something, blog for October 19th, for instance, and then you put in a list of things. You can either put a list of things, a checkbox, or just a list, bulleted list, or numbered list. You can add a link. You can insert a file. You can pretty much create anything you want. And then it's easy when you're done. You click you're done. Or if you want to share, you can send this as a note. You can share it by email. You can send it as a link. This is actually a really good tool, because what I do is I write my blog entries here, and then when I'm done, if I'm guest posting for somebody, I'm just sending it, or I'm adding whatever I need to add, my pictures and all, and then I send it to somebody via email and tell them, hey, the blog post is ready, and then I send it, and it's great. And when I'm done, I'm just a click, I'm done, and then I go back to whatever I had. Then you can organize them into notebooks, and you can put tags, etc. It's just a really great tool to use, and I encourage you to do that. Yes, and another reason why I wanted to talk about it is, as your business grows, you might find specific websites that are good for your business or for doing something. And you know how sometimes, just like I have them right now, but I have them right now out for a specific purpose, because I'm going to show those to you. But usually I will open up a browser or a new window and it just stays open forever. And then I close it and I forget which one it was. So usually what I do, oh, and that slows down my computer too. So usually what I do, if I find a really good website, I click on Note and say, cool website for um, student A, for example, if I'm working on reading with them, and then I just put this website in and I create done. So here's my new note here, and if or whenever I'm done with this note, or whenever I want to get back to it, I go back to it and I can just close that website that I was using. And so Evernote is fantastic. Next one I want to introduce to you is Wego. Wego says it makes it easier to work in groups. So as you can tell, I've got a lot of students here to the right, and they have signed up at one point or another in the last several years. And I put them in specific groups and I give them assignments throughout the week. For example, I meet with them once a week and then I give them assignments. Okay, now you need to, this week you will have to work on, you can do a piece of writing. Instead of them sending them via email and then the email gets lost, or um, you know, I get so many emails and then just opening up an email, it takes a lot of time. Here you can just go on, you can click on what the person has written and look at the way the person wrote this, and then you add a comment to what they wrote. You reply and you send it, and then they will get your response. Also, for listening, or rather speaking practice, I encourage students to record themselves. So I give them a topic, or they watch a video, or listen to a podcast, read a piece of news, and then I tell them, okay, your assignment now is to record yourself, and your recording has to be 2 minutes, and you will have to talk about what you have read in this article or heard in this podcast. So they send me, as you can see, this something like that. It's a file, this particular one, just talking about diabetes. So I download it, it downloads the file, and then I can play the file. And as I play the file, and I hit reply, and then I respond to what I hear, make suggestions, or correct any mistakes that might come up. I can add files, start a conversation, make an announcement, add a link, create a meeting, which can be a virtual meeting, and I can set it up as an online. See, it can be either in person or conference call, virtual meeting, or chat room. It's amazing, and everybody will get announcements, and you can decide which group you want to send it to, because you might have many groups. And you send this announcement, and people will receive it, and they will be there. Then you can create, for example, I once had a group where they were working, they had weekly goals, and so for each week I would create a to-do list for them, and it was helpful for them to see what their assignments were and what their tasks were. So to-do list, you can do a poll and you can send a message, and you can also create an event. I haven't explored everything. I've done meetings. I do encourage you, just like I would encourage you with anything else, to try it out first, even with the meeting. See if it works, because there were a couple of times, and that happens. That's one thing that you can never be sure of. You can pretty much create an event, and then if you haven't tried it, then everybody comes to the event and people can't hear you, and there's some glitch in your system and you have no idea how to resolve it. So be sure to test it. The third one is EdPuzzle. Now, EdPuzzle is my absolute favorite in the last several months. I've been using it. My students love it. I actually learned about it on Twitter, which is another reason why you should be on social networks if you're not. Now, this is a super fantastic website. When you go in, of course, you have to sign in, whether you're a teacher or student. Let's say you're a teacher. You can create content. And what you do by creating content, you can either upload a video, and you can add new video by adding a link, a YouTube link, which if you can, I would encourage you not just add a link or not simply a link, but actually upload the entire video. How do you do that? Let's say you found something on YouTube that is really nice, um, and you want to use it, like a short clip, a 2-minute clip from a movie, and you want to use it in your classroom. So you can either upload the link from YouTube, which is good, but not so good, because sometimes you know how those accounts go dead and then you can never go back to the link, and the link is dead and you can't find it. So the best thing is, if you have this, there's a website called YouTubeinmp4.com, and you can pretty much take a short clip and put the link in the window. Let me see, YouTube in MP4. And you can put the link in the window, and then you can click download, and it will download to your computer. So this is the YouTube link, and then you download MP3, and then you're good to go. So you've got that link and that actual file. So you go back on EdPuzzle, you create content, you upload a video. It's one of these. And here's the absolutely phenomenal thing that happens. You have a, let's say, a specific video that you like, and you can actually organize them just like I did. You organize them into folders. So here's my video, and it's an interview. What I want to do is I want to edit it. So when I edit, first of all, I can take, as you can see, the crop. I can take and as much or as little as I want, and just use the section that I like, and then I can crop it. And after I crop it, by the way, they have these tutorials that go with it. They're really short. Then, for example, I want to record an audio track. So let's say you want to talk a little bit about this video, or this is a really good assignment, for example, if your students can create, or if you can create a little video, and you can voice it over if you want to do that. But the best thing for me, what I have used well, is created audio notes. So let's say I want to play it, and at a certain point I want to create an audio note and say, well, be careful, or like pay attention, because in 5 seconds she's going to use a very interesting word or phrase, and I would like for you to hear that. So then you save it, and then goes on. She says this word or phrase, then you click on another one, and then you give them the clue what it was or the response. And then my next favorite is the quizzes. So for example, I want to ask a question as we get to this. I can either have an open-ended question, or I can have, option 1 or 2, so a person has to pick an option. Or if I don't want either, I can just place a comment and tell people. So essentially, when they will be watching it, they will get to this point, the video will stop, and to the right, they will see my comment. Or they will see the question and they will have to respond to the question. Then I save it and so forth, and then it saves. And then after I'm done, what I want to do is you want to assign or share it. Now, if you assign, it means you have a specific class and you want to add it to the class. And when you add it to the class and click send, then everybody in your group is going to get, in your class is going to get this note that your teacher has just sent you the video. Go and watch it. You want to unclick that or uncheck that or keep it checked to prevent skipping, which means when students get to a certain question, they will either be able to respond to the question now, and they won't be able to move on unless they answer this question, or they can skip it and go on and then come back. So you probably don't want to prevent them from skipping. You can also set a due date if you want to. You don't need to. You can send it right now. You can share it, which means it will give you the assignment code. And then you don't have to send it. You click on later. But the coolest thing I think that happens, and this is where I really get excited, is when I go in and I watch my students' progress. And for that, I actually have to go to my classes. And I've got several classes here. And let's say I want to look at my students' progress. See, it shows progress. So what happens, like, here's the student. I double click on that and I see how many times. This is the entire video, which was 2 minutes and 31 seconds. The person watched 100% of the video, and well, the responses are correct because I already corrected that. But I can see how many times they watched a specific fragment, which is great because that shows to me what was difficult for them. So this question, obviously, and this question was very difficult because it took them that long to watch it and try to understand that. And also, let me show you something else as I go through this. Another really, I guess, interesting feature is that not only do you see how many times your student has watched this, okay, look at this, 23 times, yay, I like that. But then this person actually goes through questions and they have to write down what they heard. So you click that either it's correct or incorrect. And then if you want to, you can add a little comment, which this is what usually happens where one of my students, for instance, didn't hear the word right. And so I give them the correct answer and actually tell them what they didn't get right. So this is all totally free of charge, and you can not only use YouTube videos, you can also use all kinds of videos. So for instance, if you want to add my content and create a new video, then it will take you to this search button, and you can just place the link here, and it can either come from YouTube or it can come through TED, National Geographic, Vimeo. So it's not a limited number of videos that you can only get from YouTube. You can get them from anywhere. See, I told you I was very ambitious when I thought that I could cover 15 resources in just a short 1 hour. Let's keep moving. The next one is SoundCloud. SoundCloud is fantastic if you teach your students how to speak. This is my podcast, And as you can tell, it's in German. And I created it because I'm learning German. And I just recorded myself, which you can record it right here in SoundCloud, which I don't recommend because it takes forever for the file to upload. Or you can just create it elsewhere and upload it. It doesn't take that long. It can either be public or, like in this case, it's private. So only my teacher and now you can see it. So the cool thing is when you start playing it, um, for example, I as a teacher, as somebody is playing it, as I'm playing the podcast, I get to a point where there's a mistake. So I just write a comment as I go. And immediately, as you can tell, a comment will pop up here. And you can keep listening, but the comment, you can type up the comment and leave it. And so when your student listens to their recording once again, then they get to a point where, for example, there is a correction and it will pop up. So just like this. And then the second one, again, it pops up. And so forth. It's really easy and user-friendly. And if, for example, the comment is way too long, then you can go down in the comments and actually read it. This is, you can use it, for example, to explain something to your students if you want to put it together really in a short, brief summary. Of course, there's a limitation to how much bandwidth you can use on a free account. But if you're just starting out, you don't really need a lot. And you can encourage your students to create open up their SoundCloud accounts. And right now, there's even an app on iPhones and iPads, and they can just record right there and send those to you. It's really, really easy to use, and I encourage you to use that. The next one is Issue. You probably have heard about it. If not, I encourage you to check it out, because Issue is this really fantastic online magazine in a way. So for instance, you put together a new book, or you're putting it together and you would like to give a teaser and post it on your website. What you do is you take a PDF document, you upload it. See, it says upload. You upload it, and then you can um, read it just like that. And you can share it. When the students read it or watch it, then they can take the link, or you can even direct them to this website by giving them the link. So as you see, this is a worksheet 5 for something that I was working on, grammar most likely, because that's what I'm using it for. And okay, 1 second. All right, so there it is. You can click on it. It can get a little bigger. It's thinking. I didn't know it was going to take that long. But, okay, see? You can click on it, can get a little bigger, right? So, like this. You can make it big by amplifying it. And you can, okay, see? Like this. Then you can share it. And there are different ways to share it. You can give the direct link, and you can embed it into your page. If you know, if you have websites, you know what I mean. So it produces the HTML link that you can then put on your website, and this is the way it's going to look. Click to read. Once your students click on how to read, they can see like it done in a really, really nice way. And of course, they can print it out. it's a really handy website that you can use. Then next one is classmarker.com. Classmarker, and by the way, if you missed any of these, just like I said, I'm going to send all of them and more in a special blog post on my website. So next one is a class marker, which is great because this is a test making website. What I like about it, well, first of all, obviously it's free. You can create a test. It's very easy. It used to be, actually, when I first started working with it a few years ago, this website used to be a little complicated. It had its own tricks and quite a big learning curve. And there wasn't really, right now they have an overview and how to use it. At the time, there was there were not so many options available on this website, and it looked a little confusing. I'm glad that they're working and getting rid of those bugs. But essentially, you can create a test, you can assign it by either sending a direct link or adding students' emails, and then you analyze results. Now, in order to analyze results, you will probably need to have a paid account. Not probably, but most likely. But if you just want students to take the tests and then give you or let you know which results they had, it's just as good. So here I've got all of my tests and a lot of them, and I can just create a new test. I can create a group or a community, and you know, here's the test. It's available to take. I can get the links, right? I can actually, the good thing is that I can always embed it on my website. I can add the test link, or I can email this link to the users. And to preview it, there's a way to see it, you know, in a preview mode. There, it tells you you've got 15 questions, you've got a time limit of 15 minutes, and it just gives you a little preview, and then you begin this test. It's a really handy website, and the fact that it's existed over so many years, and it's actually been good, and they've developed it, only shows you that it's a good product. Next one is a form site. If you're familiar with, or if you have your own website, then most likely you will need forms. Some websites have inbuilt forms, and that's okay. You can also use Google Forms, which are plenty. But I really encourage you to use FormSite because it is really easy to use, and the forms are you can do a lot even on a free account, except on a free account you're only allowed 5 forms and 10 participants per form. 10 participants can sign up, but after they sign up, then you can pretty much delete the results and start all over again. And because if you set up your form in such a way that every time somebody signs up, it sends you an email, then you really are not losing any data. So this is where you can create a new form, you can edit the form, the existing form, you can configure it. You can choose the notifications and send the notifications to your email. You can send your students to success pages, actually create a success page on your website, or just send people to your website. Then save and return. You can do payments and integration with all these websites. However, I think this, not I think, I know these are paid options. And then you publish, and when you do the publish form, then you it gives you the link. You can share it on Twitter, Facebook, and you can have the printable. You can embed the code and actually embed this form into your website. These are some new things that have actually come out. The good thing I like about it is that if you need to, for example, create a form with a PayPal account or with more than just 10 users that can sign up, so you don't have like an email in the middle of the night that somebody cannot sign up because you have exhausted the number of free spots, you can sign up for a pro account or premium account, and you can keep it for as long as you need to. If you need it for 3 months, you can have it for 3 months, or for 1 month, and then you can go back to a resource, and you won't to a free level, and you won't lose any of your data, which is amazing. So form site. The next one is Pearl Trees. Pearl Trees is a really neat website that will allow you to put together, it's kind of maybe not exactly like Evernote, but it's something that you can create for your students. For example, you are putting together a resource page with website links and with all kinds of other interesting materials, and you can add them by let's say you can add any resource really easily. You can either add a web page, for instance, or an image, or a file, or a note. You can do all that, and it's really easy how it's integrated. Like in this particular, this is a resource page for my students who are learning pronunciation. So for each, this is either my blog posts or links to my course on Udemy, but it's really helpful because they can click on it, they can read it, they can add this Pearl Tree collection to themselves, and they can be notified every time they get something new, that I'm posting something new. You can add videos, as I have videos here, or just any images that you find interesting. It's sort of like Pinterest, but I have never been able, and maybe it just takes a bit. It's a different type of learning, and I think there are tools that we're more comfortable and less comfortable with. But I've tried taking on Pinterest, but for some reason I've just never been able to see how it works, or it either looked too cluttered to me or something. So if you are a little bit concerned, or you don't know how to put together a Pinterest board, or you haven't even done that, haven't started, I really encourage you to use Pearl Trees because it's a little easier, and it has, in my opinion, it is more functional. But some of you might have other ideas, so it would be interesting to hear what you and how you feel about Pinterest. And I know a lot of people have used it and have really enjoyed using those. So it's great if it works for you. Then this is Udemy, and I've talked about Udemy, and it turned out that not everybody has gotten really much out of that course. Not that they have got much, but for example, they may not have gotten as much in-depth information as they would have wanted. Now, these are the courses that I'm learning, and you can browse courses here. You can create a wish list, and you can do there will be courses that you yourself teach. You teach it, you add the course, and it just is really easy to set up. and you can put it together. There is an easy step-by-step process. There's actually, when you go on Udemy and create your own account, there is a course called How to Create Your Udemy course. It's free. So they just give you a generic idea of what will work or what won't work. But it might be easy, or it might be worthwhile using it and going through that Udemy course, so that you can get ideas. It works really easily. Um, okay, so this is how it works. I guess this is what it looks like on the inside. So you've got discussions, you've got announcements. You can add a discussion if you have a question. You can add a discussion to your teacher. As you can tell, there are lots of students on this course, and you can go through each step. They have either a video or lecture, or an audio lecture, or text. It's quite helpful, and it gives you some practical ideas on how to put together a course, how to add quizzes, how to, what to do. And it's really nice. So for example, I go to the welcome lecture. It takes me to it, and then see. So I can either go to the previous lecture, which there weren't previous lectures, or I can go to the next lecture, right? I can look at, I can ask a question right here, okay? I can download any, start a new discussion here. I can download any other materials um, that they have available here. Or I can just take my own notes. These are just my private notes, and nobody will ever see them, so it's pretty good. So I just thought that since I was talking um, in my previous webinar, I talked about using Udemy a lot, but I didn't really go into detail in depth about how do you use it and what it looks like. So for some of you, it was the first time, your first introduction to Udemy. So I thought that I would just let you see how it looks. It's really easy. You go to the next lecture, and it tells you how much you have completed of the course, and you can go on. And again, you can go to course dashboard if you are done with this particular part of your course, etc. It's really easy to use. The next one, if you're with me still, is of course MailChimp. MailChimp.com is the resource you want to use to create your own courses and your own lists of students, teachers, subscribers. You create campaigns and send it to, for example, I want to send an email to everybody who signed up on my webinar, for my webinars, for example, or for on my landing page, any landing page that I have created. So there's like several different lists. As you can tell, I have a number of lists, and every time I create a campaign and I have a sign-up sheet, I've got different recipients, and there are a few of them, and there are more of them on some and more on others. I create a specific one and decide that I send either to this list or saved segment, or to a group of recipients. Then I go on, and it takes me through the wizard where I put together a just easy email. I name it, and then after that I hit send. It's really easy, and I wanted to go back to actually show you that you can not only send it right away, but you can also schedule it. So many of you today that are watching me live, you may have received a message from me 15 minutes before. Well, I put it together yesterday, and so today it kind of it just had an automated feature of scheduling, and so it sent it. Then another really good but paid feature, but I would really like to encourage you to use it whenever you get to this point. It's not that expensive. It's $10 to $15 a month. But what you do is you create a series of emails to students. So for example, I have a grammar course with 10 emails in there. And each student receives any of these emails like every day or every other day, actually more like once a week. And there are activities there, and you don't really have to do anything except you can see, like here, for example, it has sent already 48 or messages to 48 people. About half of them have opened, which is a really good, and some of them have clicked specific links that I put in there. I find it really interesting, and I actually have to share that with you, that when I first started in 2011, and I was just starting out with email marketing part, and I would create lists. My views and opens, these ones are actually really high. I'm really surprised. But when I first created them, people would sign up readily, and I would have like, 50, 100 people over a short period of time. But then I noticed that nobody was opening. And really, after some time, you're not opening unless you feel like, yes, this is really interesting, and I'm interested to find out what you can teach us, right? And so the first time, my first emails were not being open, and it took me forever to analyze, why is it so? Why do I not have it? I'm paying. It's a paid service, so I'm wondering, why is it that people are not opening? And I realized that I was working, and just like I told you in my previous webinar, or maybe I wrote it in my book. Everything is blurry right now. I'm sorry. But sometimes you're working with the audience and they are not ready. So I was working with the audience that was not really internet savvy, and so they really liked the idea of getting being signed up to a course, but they really didn't know what it meant. And so whenever they received, after a couple of emails, that just dropped it, they either the content wasn't, but the content is pretty much the same, because right now I've created a new course where I put the same content that I've had all these years. It's just that I organized it differently, and now I have these really high open rates, which 50% is pretty high, trust me. And I noticed that people are now ready. So which means it kind of tells me that I need to do more work to develop my online courses. Automation is really awesome, because all you do is you create an automation workflow, and you put together 10 emails. In each email, you get a piece of the course. At the end of the email, you give your student an opportunity to purchase something. If you have a product or a service, a consultation, you can do that, and it really works wonders. In fact, I wanted to let you know that there are some services that I signed up for, and I never heard from the people. But there are others that send really good content that I drop everything to read it, or to listen to this podcast or whatever. And I realize that the reason why, 6 months later, I want to buy from this specific person whose updates I've been reading every week is because, I've been receiving this automated workflow, and I really have seen the quality of the content that these people have. Um, okay, and last but not least, I'm really running out of time here, but I'm going to go for Kickoff Labs and give you an idea what those are. A Kickoff Lab is a website that you will really find interesting and helpful for your business if you're creating an event. So when you're creating an event, or and like a webinar, all of you have gone to a landing page, have probably gone to a landing page and signed up, and you won't believe that those landing pages only took me about 15 minutes to make. They're super easy, and they will be a great resource for you when you decide to create an event. Let's say it's going to be a webinar or a conference call or a class that you would like to have open only for a smaller audience. I would first actually do a webinar if I were you, not immediately go into classes, because classes take higher commitment. Webinars have an option of always playing back or using playback, a recording, whereas with classes you really need to know that these people are going to be there, otherwise you'll be there and you won't have the number of people that you were anticipating. So you sign in with the labs, and since I've been using them, I've got, they're signed in. So what I do is I add a new campaign, and I create the name for it. For example, I want a webinar on grammar rules, kind of double meaning here. So I create it, and this is just as easy as it is. You just come up with the name, you can change it, and as soon as you put it together, it shows here the top right-hand corner, it shows you the leads, the number of leads. It means the number of people that have signed up. Obviously, since I just created it, there are no people who signed up. So what I want to do, and it gives you a whole list of things that you can do. Obviously, some of the things that you can do, you can only do if it's a paid service, but you can create a landing page really easily for free. So you want to create a capture page or form, and what it is a one-pager where you put your information. So there are different types of those. You can have something that has, pop-up link and embeddable widgets. You can have subscribe to our mailing list. You can have thank you pages as a referral. Then you can create a landing page, and that's what I want. A landing page is, create webinar registration. So let's say I wanted to put together a grammar rules page, and I want to create a name for it. So let's say I'll just put it like as grammar rules. And because again, it's a free page, a free page, you'll have kickoffpages.com at the end, but it doesn't really matter, because when you promote, you just add the link and people click on the link and they go. So you have all types of different kinds of templates, and you just use one of them. You choose one of these, and as you begin creating the landing page, right? You edit it, and it gives you a really easy and user-friendly option. So you can select an image. Let's say you like this one, But if you don't like it, you remove it, and you can select another one. And they actually have a good variety of images. But if you don't like their images, you can always find your own, which I recommend flickr.com for free ones. Well, let's say I want, because it's a grammar rules, and I want something that will kind of reflect, or just be blurry maybe. Blurry is just as fine, or have a textured thing. Works well. Grammar rules. So I chose this image. It's pretty easy. And then I put on this information where, and again, see, it's so easy to make. You say, join my webinar, grammar rules, and then positioning statement to entice people. And you're enticing people by saying, learn, or actually, better not to say learn, become an expert in using present tenses. Okay, and then there's your email, and there's a video if you want to. If you don't, you can just get rid of it. It doesn't have to be complicated. And then at the bottom, you can always add your social network. See here, there are none, but you can create it, and when you're done, you publish it. It's that easy. So I have probably given you not 15, but a good dozen of, or maybe half a dozen of websites that you can already use in your online work, uh, regardless of what you teach. And I hope that they will be useful and helpful to you. And just like I said, in about 2 hours, I am going to send you an email with the information about my book that is coming up tomorrow, and also the link to my blog post where I'm talking at a much greater length about each of these websites with their links, and some pros and cons that I find helpful. If you have any questions, you can put them in a group chat right now, which is to the right of your screen, and I will see them and I will answer those questions. I would be really happy to do so. If you don't have questions, then I really thank you for joining me today. I've had a great fun. I always have fun talking about these resources because they're so good. They make our lives easier and more fun, and help our students achieve the results that they want within a short period of time. Thank you so much, and I hope I will touch base with you again in the future, and we will definitely be connected via email since you're signed up. And if there are any other interesting events coming up, you will always be able to check them out. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.